everybody, it's Catherine from Jayne, Catherine on Books, and here I am with some more reviews and news. And so far in January I think I've read 11 books, so hence why I've got another 5 to look at here for you. So we'll start from the least stars up to the 5-star reads. So first one is 2 Weeks with the Queen, Maurice Gleitzman, and this is a lovely little middle grade. We've got a young boy, I think he's probably about 12, something like that, I can't remember exactly, and he comes to stay with some relatives in London because his little brother has gone into hospital. He's got an incurable terminal illness, and his parents thought it would be easier for him to come over to the UK to stay with relatives while all this is going on. I'm not altogether sure that is always the best thing, but we're not here to discuss that now, are we? So a lovely little book. I expected a little bit more out of it, but that's me as an adult reading it. I gave it 3 stars. It was nicely written. I think it was sensitively written. I think it's a nice little introduction for middle-aged? No, that's just me. Middle grade age range. That's what I want to say. Middle grade age range. That's not easy to say on a Sunday. And it's very emotional. He decides that he needs to try and find a cure for his kid brother, so he tries to get an audience with Her Majesty the Queen Elizabeth, and that doesn't quite work out. So then he wants to find the top cancer specialist in London, and so he turns up at all these different hospitals to try and see if he can get somebody that's going to fly out to Australia and save his little brother. And yeah, a lovely little emotional read. I think it lays down the foundation stones to be able to discuss further terminal illness and death with a middle grade audience. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and yeah, a good useful tool. So that's 2 Weeks with the Queen, Maurice Gleitzman, or Gleitzman, however sorry they pronounce it. Next, one of my Daisy Dalrymple series by Carola Dunn. This is Sticks and Stones. I gave it 3 stars. Good old cosy crime. Love Daisy. She's a wonderful character. She's from quite a well-to-do family. She's an honourable, the Honourable Daisy Dalrymple, and she can just sit at home and do needlework and stuff like they did back in the day. But no, she's quite an independent woman. She wants to have her own life, her own career, so she actually works as a photojournalist, but she always comes across a murder. Wherever she goes, she comes across a murder. She gets involved in the cases of oh crikey, his name's gone, can't think of his name now. He's a chief inspector at Scotland Yard, and goodness me, she's engaged to the man and I can't remember his blinking name. Can't remember his name. I've had a... You see, this is it. When you get middle-aged, you have this mental block. Can't remember his name. This wasn't one of my favourites. I felt that it was very much the muchness. It's about solving a murder that's related to people in a nice, cosy little quintessential English village getting poison pen letters. It was an enjoyable read. 3 stars is still a good star rating for, for cozies. It's got to be really exceptional for a cozy to get higher ratings for me. But yeah, enjoying that series, just ploughing my way through them. I'm enjoying them. Next, What Katie Did, one of my childhood favourites. This is by Susan Coolidge. This is a new Virago Modern Classic version. I've got a little box set of them, and Yeah, I read this as a child. I loved this series as a child. I'm trying to see when it first came out. First published 1872. Oh, I didn't read it that early, did I? Yes. I read it in the late 60s, early 70s perhaps. But these are beautiful edition by Modern Virago. And it's just got this is a 4-star for me. Even Dame Jacqueline Wilson has put one of my all-time favourite books. She comes from a large family. She's the eldest, and she keeps all the other gang in tow and make sure they all behave themselves, although she's probably the worst one of the lot. She's very mischievous. She sets off a riot at school and that sort of thing. It's just got that lovely, it's like Downton Abbey in a children's book. You know, that sort of cosy feel about it. So yeah, going to carry on reading the rest of the series, what Katie did. 4 stars. Then I come to a couple of 5-star reads for me, and The Mysterious Affair at Styles. Now this is book 1 in Agatha Christie's Poirot series. As you know, I have read a few Poirot mysteries, but you know, read them as I've got them. I haven't been able to read them in order, and very happy that I managed to get book 1. This was from Barter Books, one of our favourite second-hand bookstores up in Northumberland. The Mysterious Affair at Styles is the very first Poirot. I absolutely loved it. I think I'm going to now read in order because I think I got so much more out of it. It was written slightly differently to the later ones. Often the style with Poirot is that you go along collecting clues, a few red herrings, and then at the end everybody has to sit in the lounge area, the drawing room, and he reveals all his thoughts and feelings and who the murderer is. But with this one, it's as if he was discussing his thoughts and his processes and elimination processes as he went along, and it was a very good solid plot. An old lady of the manor was killed in a locked room. I love a good locked room murder mystery, and it was just everything that I wanted from a cosy crime / more serious mystery. And Agatha, you know, she just does crime at the very best, and so loved it. 5 stars. I think it's the first, no, I mean, some standalones, and then there were none, which is a standalone. Agatha Christie is my all-time favourite. Agatha Christie, obviously 5 stars, but they have to go some to get a 5 stars, so really chuffed with that. And then finally, my final 5 star here is Sleeping and the Dead, sorry, by Anne Cleeves. If you've been with me a while, you know that I love Anne Cleeves. She does the Jimmy Perez series up in the Shetland, which I've featured before. You'll be able to find those in the cards. I'm not quite at the end of that series. She does a Vera Stanhope series as well, which I don't like the character Vera, so I don't read those. I don't get on with the character of Vera. It's strange how you can have a favourite author, but I love Jimmy Perez. I love her standalones. Don't like a Vera series. That's strange. Just so shows sometimes our character, if you don't invest in a character for whatever reason, whether they're likeable or unlikable, then often you don't enjoy the book. This is a standalone. Excellent. It really is a good mystery. We've got a detective, so often she seems to like a police procedurals, and we've got a detective that's come to investigate. They found a teenager that's been found at low tide, apparently in the Lake District in the UK, in the northwest, and they haven't discovered this body for 20 years because the water table has kept the height above this body, and as the water table's altered over the years, you know, the water levels have become less as the tides go out in this particular area, and they find this body, which is more or less, I didn't realise, and this might be a bit gruesome information, but because it'd been submerged in water for that length of time, the corpse sort of crystallises over the whole body, and often the organs are still intact, and so they were able to do a full post-mortem. So sorry if that's a bit gruesome, but I didn't realise that. I find medical pathology and that sort of thing, I find it really interesting. Forensic pathology. So we have a whole cast of characters. We've got two timelines really. So going back to when the body was a teenager, young adult, all the people that were involved. We've got his girlfriend at the time involved and various cast of friends, and then we're in present day when all these people find out that actually this person didn't disappear. They were actually murdered and dumped in the sea. So it was fantastic. I liked the characterizations. She writes an excellent plot, does Anne Cleeves. Well worth a read. Great standalone, loved it. So that's The Sleeping and the Dead. Couple of bits of news for you, seeing as it's a reviews and news, and I've just written down a few notes because I usually forget. So Tana French, so those of you that love Tana French, she's coming out with her first standalone novel. I believe it comes out in February. I think this is sort of ones that are coming out in February, and it's called The Witch Elm, as in W-Y-C-H Elm, and it's about male privilege and family secrets. So it's not following on from a usual series. This is a first standalone. For those of you that read and loved The Lullaby last year, very creepy murder involving a nanny. I've got the book, I did review it. So a murder mystery involving a nanny, quite hard hitting, quite gritty. Really, really good book for me. Well, she's coming out with another in February, and this is called... Oh, I haven't got a title for that. I thought I had. Not got the title for that. But it's Layla Slimani is the author, and it's been translated by Sam Taylor. Now, I love books that have been translated by Sam Taylor. He translates most of Michel Boussy, his mysteries, his murders, and he does a really good job of translating from French into English. So I'm really looking forward to that one. Sorry I've not got a title for that one, but look out for it. February release, Layla Slimani, and it's about a Parisian woman that's in the grips of sex addiction, and that should be, if it's anything like Lullaby, that should be another corker of a book. And then finally, Sam Bourne, who did The Missing President. I think he's done another controversial piece of fiction. It's called To Kill the Truth. So for those of you that enjoyed The President is Missing, I think you'll enjoy this one. Again, coming out in February as far as I know, unless we hear that any of these are delayed. So there we go, a little bit of news there for some new stuff that's coming out. I'm certainly looking forward to the Layla Slimani one. I shall have a look now and see if we can get that on pre-order, because I totally loved, well, you can't say loved because it was a very gritty subject, quite disturbing, but excellent writing, excellent read. So looking forward to a new one. Okay then, so that's it for today. Thank you for joining me. As always, put some comments down below, and I like nothing better than having a good old chat with all of you. And we'll see you again next time. Bye for now.